I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelley.
And we're
Sisters in Ebert.
Welcome back for another rousing movie day.
Ooh,
on Movie Mondays here. Today's film,
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
A classic.
Yes, 1987 Mel Brooks. We start off as, well, first it's a, do we give our background or do we go into the story first?
We can give our background.
Okay.
We were shown this movie when we were young.
Really young. Yeah, like it came out in 1987. I'm pretty sure when Dad first had access to it is when we watched it.
And we loved it.
Loved it.
We didn't understand half of it.
No.
But it was funny to us. A lot of physical comedy in this one.
Yeah.
And then years later, I guess, we found out about Star Wars. And we thought, oh, this is terrible. Mm-hmm. Star Wars isn't any good. Why did they make Spaceballs like this?
They're ripping off Spaceballs.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Where are my beloved characters of Barf and Pizza the Hut?
Yes, yogurt
and Dot.
Yes. So, Spaceballs is a parody of Star Wars. But if you are shown Spaceballs first, you will grow up believing that was the original and that Star Wars is the copy. So
this is the culprit of why we're not big Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Because we saw Spaceballs and thought, this isn't good. Or we saw Star Wars after Spaceballs and thought,
where's the comedy?
This sucks.
But it turns out George Lucas had a big hand in Spaceballs. Like, he read the script. Really? He recommended the music person. So he was all for it.
That's awesome.
But
I did not know that.
We weren't all for it.
No, we weren't all for it. You can love them both.
You can.
And I like Star Wars.
Yeah,
I'm just not.
More so now than.
Yeah, I'm just not. It's not a lifestyle. No offense if it's your lifestyle.
Yes,
you can let that be. My things that are my lifestyle are definitely not for everybody. So we start out with Planet Geridia is in sight and Colonel Sanders is informed. That is in sight. Colonel Sanders, yes. Captain Helmet arrives and Spaceball.
Is it Lord Helmet?
Yeah, I screwed that up in the beginning. Sorry.
Lord Helmet.
Thanks. This is the other Spaceball guy went over his helmet and took a laser to the wiener.
We're just getting right in.
We're getting right into it.
Yes, this is a large physical comedy part where he is using
the Schwartz.
The Schwartz.
Yeah, not the Force.
Is it the Schwartz to him though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he calls it the Schwartz.
Does he? Okay. Yeah. So it's just controlling people.
Yeah.
In
much the way that the Force would be for Star Wars. They have to find a way to get through the air shield to get to Planet Geridia's air supply.
Yeah, they've squandered all their air on their planet, so they need to take the atmosphere from another planet.
Yes, and we cut through to Geridia as Dot Matrix, the droid of honor, is called in at Princess Vespa's wedding. Tomorrow, bingo.
Yes, on the sign. That's great.
She has to get married. This is the last prince in the galaxy. She doesn't love him. It's Prince Valium. She doesn't like it.
Valium. He's yawning, snoring, like he is out of it. He has no idea he's getting married, basically.
She's a runaway bride. She takes off and decides she can't handle it, is gone. And then she takes off in her spaceship.
With Dot.
Dot, yeah. Because Dot's trying to hold on to her and pull her back and she can't. Yeah. And Dot is voiced by Joan Rivers.
Yes.
It's delightful.
Yes, she's wonderful.
Yes. Okay. So, Captain Lone Star, we cut to him. He's a hero for sale, and cut to his that's what it says on his RV. Which is
it's like
Winnebago.
Winnebago.
Space Jam, Spaceship Winnebago, and Bon Jovi's playing. Barf is eating a bucket of barf. It just says, I guess that's his food dish though, maybe, but it looks like a KFC bucket.
Yeah.
And then Lone Star's on autopilot, he's dozing, maybe hungover, we don't know. There's a video call before video calls existed, and Barf's gonna turn it on just to audio so they can't see him, but he screws it up and you see Lone Star.
Pushes the wrong button. He's like, sorry.
So we get the call from Pizza the Hut, who was I thought as a child delicious. He looked pretty gross.
Yeah, he looked disgusting. He was scary when I rewatched it. I'm surprised I wasn't scared of him as a kid. But I did want to eat him.
Yeah, me too. Because we used to be like the only pizza we got.
Yeah, that was our brand of choice.
Yeah. So he needs $1 million space bucks by tomorrow because of the interest. He's essentially like a mobster, a loan shark, and
which I didn't understand as a kid.
No,
like I didn't know the whole premise of the movie.
And Lone Star, I didn't get that either. Lone Star, it was like originally 100,000 space bucks, but then with interest it got up to $1 million space bucks. So
I want to know the currency rate of space bucks to dollars.
It's the same as unicorns. Okay. So, Vespa's glad she left. Glad. And I just remember that as a kid, too. And I'm like, I hate that word, glad. And I never used it for the longest time. Mel Brooks is the president, and he's getting calls about the air shortage. But he's, assuring them that there's no problem at all, no matter what they've heard, as he pulls out a bottle of Perrier.
It's like
Perrier, yeah. It's like a bottled air. Snotty beams the president up, and his head beams on backwards. And so
that was the funniest as a kid. Like,
as a kid,
his butt was in the front.
Why didn't anybody tell me my butt was this big? And then so they beam him back to get it right, and then you see like he's like, "No, I'm gonna walk." And he just opens the door and walks.
Yeah, he could have just walked right into the next room instead of being beamed over.
Yeah. They're trying to capture Princess Vespa so that they can get the air from her planet. The Spaceballs are.
Yeah, they're using her as bait, or as leverage to get the
collateral,
air. Collateral.
Dark Helmet, who's Rick Moranis, and just like absolutely fantastic. He finds out he's surrounded by a-holes because everybody's last name is a-hole,
He's an a-hole too?
Yeah. How many a-holes are here? Hey! All right. King of Druidia gets Lone Star to save Vespa because they capture Vespa's vehicle for $1 million space bucks, they decide. So that's how he's going to get his bounty to pay Pizza the Hut, which I guess is a Star Wars plot too, because I think that's Han and Jabba is.
I guess it makes sense. Yeah. That's another one that
I have to. We will rewatch. It's on the list. I know. I don't recall because I was a kid the last time I saw it. He's not doing it. Barf's trying to talk him out of it because it's super dangerous. Lord Helmet does not like Lone Star at all. And we don't know like what their history is, but we've come to like they allude that there was like an interaction in the past. So he's not doing it for the money, but for a poop load of money. So they're gonna do it. They decide to jam the radar so that they can't see them getting in, and it's literal jam
and dripping out of the machinery.
And Helmet goes, raspberry. That's Lone Star. The police academy, the guy from Police Academy is there doing the sound effects. Yeah. And, Dark Helmet knows only Lone Star would give raspberry jam, so he knows who it is. Barf explains to Dot and Vespa because he goes to intercept them from where their vehicle is being held on the Spaceballs ship. And he explains that he's a Mog, half man, half dog, his own best friend, and that is delightful John Candy.
Oh, I love him so much. Barf was always my favorite character.
Yeah, me too.
He's just cute looking.
Yeah, he's adorable. They can't go without Princess Vespa's luggage. She had matching luggage, and it's a lot.
He's carrying all this stuff for her.
Yes,
the ladder.
Yeah. They are talking about how she's a Druish princess and she won't be rescued in such filth. So she's trying to get them. She's making all these crazy demands.
Yeah, she's definitely spoiled.
Yes. She will be hostage until the Spaceballs think they're holding her until all the air is transferred, and then they find out she's not in the car. Like she's not in the spaceship.
Like it's empty.
Yeah. The Winnebago is seen on radar when they finally get the jam cleared up. And light speed is too slow, so they must use ludicrous. The Spaceballs have to use ludicrous speed, and Colonel Sanders is too chicken to use the ludicrous speed. Dark Helmet is not buckled up, and so when they finally come out of ludicrous speed, he just flies across the thing. Spaceball went so fast they went plaid, and they passed Lone Star. So they got past the Winnebago. He dented his helmet, and they decided to take a 5-minute break.
Yeah. He's all like knocked
He's disoriented.
Out. Let's take 5 minutes.
Lone Star ran out of gas, so they have to have an emergency landing of Eagle 5. I saw that's what it was. Yeah, but they never reference it. I just noticed it. Dot says to be careful. He's got a sexy voice. He might be cute before telling him off because Vespa's going to go tell him off. He's going to go tell. Yeah, Lone Star's going to tell Vespa off, and Barb's the only one that's seen Dot and Vespa so far. Mm-hmm. Princess Vespa needs her things. She can't. Lone Star tells her she can take only what she needs to survive. And I remember that part a lot as a kid too. And they cut to the next scene. They're in the desert, and Barf and Lone Star are lugging a trunk and like all this luggage. Yeah,
there's
like
so much stuff.
It's what she needed to
can't
survive.
Live without.
Yeah. So you say, total humans and droids, as Barf addresses on total humans, droids. Everybody calm down, because he's a half human, half dog. So they decide to camp out. Lone Star gets mad and pulls like whatever's in the trunk out, and here it's like her industrial strength hairdryer.
Yeah, it's like hair.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, this enormous hairdryer.
And he talks about how the trunk is much lighter without it. Like they're just grumbling to themselves, and how like, oh yeah, I can haul 2 or 3 of these like now, you know. So the Spaceballs don't know what to do next to find the princess, so they decide to get a copy of the Spaceballs movie.
Yeah, so they're putting in the VHS. Of the movie they're currently making, watching it. They fast forward past to where they are to figure it out.
Yeah. And as they're getting a copy of it, they pass all these Mel Brooks movies. The Producers, 12 Chairs, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, History of the World, and Silent Movie to get to it. And so they get to the point where Dark Helmet crashes into the thing after they go ludicrous speed, and he's like, never play that scene again. We're not he's like, Dark Helmet's freaking out about it. They got to the now on the video and are able to locate the princess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Barf and Lone Star are burning the luggage for heat in the
I hadn't noticed that before.
I mean, either in the fire pit.
It's night. They're all huddled around the fire.
I said
camping for the night.
Romantic tension about finding Druidia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the star right there. Oh yeah.
It's very clear what's going to happen in the end with this love story.
Yes. Lone Star doesn't know where he's from. He was adopted. Monks took him in, and they took a vow of silence so they could tell him where he was from. And then right as they're about to get uncomfortably close, Dot's virgin alarm goes off.
Yeah, it's just virgin.
Virgin. And so the next day, like, they all get some sleep. The next day, they're walking through the desert, and Lone Star and Barf are just, like, water, and then Barf's panting, and Dot's like, oil, and then the princess is, room service. They're not getting far with the blazing sun overhead, as we saw in the previous scene, when Barf's like, oh, nice overlay. They constantly break the fourth wall, which was fun. Mm-hmm. They wanted... I remember as a kid, I wanted Vespa's desert-style dress.
Oh my gosh, because it's her wedding dress that she
like
was wearing.
ripped
and
parts
it's slowly ripping and like coming more
but
undone.
It looks cuter.
It's so cute. It's like lacy, and then like it gets a slit up the leg.
And like her big ugly puffy sleeves are gone. And it's just these little like off-the-shoulder
like
princess.
Sleeves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We wanted that look.
Oh, absolutely. So let's see. I put Lone Star's crew is saved by the 6 dwarfs, and they, I counted them because when they woke up, they were like, "When did we get to Disneyland?" You know, like, because it's just these like little, I guess, dwarf things, you know, and like they're
supposed to be like the Ewoks, right? In Star Wars,
maybe.
No, I guess not, because
they weren't
furry.
They're more like
cloaked.
Metallic too. Yeah, like it's like almost like a robot. I don't know, but they're not robots. They're some kind of creature, like people, but not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's 6 of them, so I guess that was so they didn't get a Disney. No.
But now Star Wars is part of the Disney universe.
Yeah,
they would have gotten away with it today.
Now, yeah. So they go underground into the Temple of Doom looking building, and they meet Yogurt.
Yogurt. He's the Yoda character.
And he's wonderful. That's also Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is a dual role.
And he's short.
Yeah.
Because Yoda's small. And I read that Mel Brooks had to kneel the whole time. It was hurting his knees. Like, he had a lot of trouble filming the scene.
I bet. Because sometimes they'd film him walking, too.
Yes.
They're in awe of the Schwartz and Yogurt does merchandising for the movie at that building. That's what they do there. So he just hones the Schwartz and does merchandising. So it's Spaceballs the t-shirt, Spaceballs the lunchbox, Spaceballs the earrings.
And that wasn't. Oh yeah, we do. We have our Spaceballs. My flips.
You're flipped the right way. Yeah, we flip. Yeah.
But I read that was a stipulation with George Lucas. That they could film the movie, but they couldn't sell merchandise for it.
Oh, okay.
So they put it in to be funny about all the stuff that they're merchandising. Like, it's like toothbrushes and vitamins and like just random stuff. So yeah, we have our Spaceballs, the earrings.
I made them. Because they can't merchandise them.
No, you can't sell them.
So we're cutting to President Scroob. Again, that's Mel Brooks, and he has Spaceballs the bed sheets when he puts his next scene. And then they're combing the desert, trying to find the Lone Star crew.
Comb the desert, find them. So they have a literal giant comb that
and then,
two
like,
guys
a hair pick at the end,
that they're walking through. We're combing the desert.
Do you think we're being too literal? So Yogurt is able to translate Lone Star's pendant, but it will be revealed at the proper time.
Yeah, so on his neck, he has his necklace from birth.
Yeah, it's like a medallion.
But he doesn't know what it says. So
it's some other language. Lone Star is in Schwartz training, and he drops a giant statue of Yogurt on Barf's foot and squashes Barf's foot completely.
It was like flat.
Yeah. And huge.
Yes.
Darth Vader. Dark Helmet. I put his desert wear because it's just little like Rick Moranis with his skinny legs and then this giant hat because he's not got his helmet on. He's just got kind of like it just like goes to here instead of his whole face. It's just very comical. The Dark Helmet hates Yogurt, even with strawberries. And Yogurt is more powerful than Dark Helmet, but he because there's an upside and a downside versus everything. And Yogurt got the upside, and Dark Helmet got the downside. Vespa is lured outside by a mirage of her father.
Yeah, she's following her daddy's voice.
And then it turns into a Dark Helmet, and he's like, "Ha ha, fooled you." Spaceballs, they're what are those things? The bumper sticker on the back of their ship says "We break for nobody." And Lone Star gets a fortune cookie from Yogurt, who hopes they meet again in Spaceballs 2, the search for more money. So he's going off to find the princess again. Let's see. Yogurt gives Lone Star gas and the ring for the Schwartz power. And Dark Helmet is playing with Lone Star's crew doll. Like, I put Lone Star crew. I keep calling Lone Star crew instead of listing everybody, but it's the doll. So it's Dot and Barf and Lone Star and Vespa, and he's like, like he's acting out these little Barbie.
It was an ad lib scene too.
Really?
Like, they just did it on the spot.
They
just said, "Go ahead and play with the dolls," and that's what he did.
No, yes, no, yes.
I love that scene.
Me too.
As a kid.
That was my favorite.
I wanted to play with the dolls.
Me too. But they can't do merchandising. Now we know why.
Now we know.
Okay. So Sanders walks in on Dark Helmet playing with the dolls, and he's like, "Not first."
He's like, holding them so you don't see him.
Yeah.
How much did you see? I didn't see you playing with your dolls, sir.
Again, sir.
Again, yeah.
The princess is in Scroob's office, and if the king doesn't give Dark Helmet the combination for the air shield, Vespa will get her old nose back. They bring in a plastic surgeon. And it's like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Fine, we'll give it to you because that would be so horrendous for her nose to be turned back the way it was.
The combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only an idiot would have that on their that's like something an idiot would have on their luggage. And President Scroob comes in and goes, "What's the combination? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's amazing. That's the same combination I have on my luggage." So they're gonna do the combination and also change President Scroob's luggage combination. Lone Star parks illegally on Spaceball's ship.
Yeah, they're like, you gotta move this. You can't park here.
And they end up, him and Barf steal the Spaceballs uniforms from the guys. They're essentially, like, what are those?
The stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers, yeah. And nobody, the princess is they're trying to find her in the jail cell. And she's like, you just hear this real deep voice singing, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. And
she's a base.
Yeah, that's what Barf says. The guy whose uniforms were stolen confront them, and there's a shootout. I put there's a sign in the background of when they're like doing that shootout scene that says "Conserve air, breathe less." Spaceballs captured their stunt doubles, though. They thought they captured the Lone Star crew, but they did not. They are locked out of the Winnebago, though, when they finally get to it. The keys were inside. Vespa hates guns, and they gave her a gun to defend herself. Yeah. And then I said, until somebody shoots her hair, and then she ends up shooting all the soldiers.
My hair. Just takes it. It's like Rambo.
Yeah. As I said, it's pretty good for a girl. That's pretty good for Rambo.
Yeah, they do say that. Dot says that, right?
Yeah, Dot says that, yeah. Okay. Scroob says Dark Helmet can't have... What is that? Sorry. So, it can't all be perfect.
They can't all be winners.
Yeah. Okay. That Dark Helmet can't have Helmet down with him. I don't know.
I think we could skip past that.
Yeah, we'll skip past that. Don't have the helmet down because he could be making faces under there.
Oh.
And then he puts it up.
And he's sticking out his tongue.
I remember writing that yesterday and thinking to myself, that's going to confuse me tomorrow.
Well, you predicted the future.
The ship transforms into a maid with a vacuum to suck out all the air on planet Druidia. It's not just a spaceship, it's a transformer, which is more product placement in other, franchises. So it sucks the air out of Druidia. They use Lone Star uses the yogurt Schwartz ring to reverse the air back.
There's a convenient button to reverse it to blow all the air back out of the vacuum.
They went from suck to blow, and then the king comes back to life and Druidia, air. I remember that as a kid sticking out a lot too. So they go to infrared, pray to God. Like Bart's just repeating everything Lone Star says. And they're going to go search for the self-destruct button that must be on the ship by the brain somewhere. So put her in hover. All right. Lone Star goes down while they're in hover, and Barf wouldn't. I wouldn't. He's going down there. I wouldn't. Sets off the emergency exit silent alarm. And then guard teaches Lone Star how to knock him out because he's trying to do
he's trying to do like the
Vulcan neck grip.
Yeah, he's like, you're too high, you gotta bring it down here, and
there
then
you go. Yep. So he finds the self-destruct button, gets the other guy who's guarding it with shaving cream in his eye, like it's like acid the way he like he was conveniently just shaving there for some reason. Dark Helmet arrives and they meet for the first time, for the last time. And then we find out that Dark Helmet is Lone Star's father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate, which makes us what? It makes you us nothing, which you will soon become. So Lone Star's they both bring out their Schwartz
from their crotches.
And and they find Dark Helmet exclaims how Lone Star Schwartz is as big as his, and let's see how they can handle it. Their Schwartzes get twisted up. Before they twist, they accidentally slice the film crew guy. They break the fourth wall again. You can see the crew.
The whole Spaceballs crew, like they're wearing Spaceballs the movie shirts.
And then their Schwartzes get all twisted up, and Lone Star cannot. They have to untwist it. Lone Star cannot penetrate the helmet, so he punches Dark Helmet when the mask is raised. Because Dark Helmet has a bad habit of raising his helmet up at inopportune times. And then Lone Star just holds him at arm's length, like
he's swinging
yeah.
like a little man.
Yeah. And then Dark Helmet steals Lone Star's ring, shaking hands, because he's like, I guess this is a fair fight. I can't believe you fell for that. Here, I'll give it back to you. Oh, you did it again. He throws the ring goes down a grate, and evil will always triumph as good as dumb. So, they find Lone Star finds out he can still use the Schwartz, and the ring came from a Cracker Jack box per Yogurt. Like, because Yogurt just, you hear him, you can still use the Schwartz. Yeah. Lone Star deflects Dark Helmet's Schwartz with a mirror, and Dark Helmet falls into the self-destruct button, and they have 3 minutes to get out. Until...
Yeah, there's like this warning alarm, like 3 minutes.
Which this is the scene I remember most as a child. Like, we watched the scene a lot.
Yeah.
And I put chaos as Lone Star goes back to the RV. Everybody's running around trying to get on these escape pods.
Yes. There was like a circus coming out. There was like all these random things.
Yeah. And I put the awesome Spaceballs song is playing.
Spaceballs!
It's the Spaceball! There's a bearded lady, a pizza guy, a drummer, and a bear that all steal pods.
Yes, the bear. Oh, the president sits down and tries to like buckle using the bear's arms. He's like, it won't click.
Okay, and President Scroob, Dark Helmet, and Colonel Sanders are all left aboard. All the pods are gone. Mm-hmm. So the cancellation button they try to find, which I thought that was pretty cool, and they all slid down the. It looked like they were having fun.
Yeah,
like they slid. There's 3 staircases, and each one slides down a staircase.
Yeah, it was a nice overhead shot. You could see all going down.
I appreciate it. I took it back a little bit so I could watch it again. Let's see, and they get to the cancellation button, and they find it's out of order.
There's just a little sign, and they're out of order.
Yeah, and so the voice is just like, counting down, and she's like, like she skips 6 at first, or 5, or whatever,
Yeah,
like,
she skips a number.
It's 8. She goes from 8 to 6. What about 7? Just kidding. And then she gets to the end, and 1. Have a nice day. Thank you. As they're about to explode.
And then it just explodes. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So the RV does get out right before 1. I don't know how though, because they were
slowly moving through these corridors,
and it was like 3 seconds, and they were like just starting to see where you. So there was another near kiss I put for between Vespa and Lone Star. President Sanders and Dark Helmet are all in the head floating. You don't see him. You just float the maid's head floating away in space. And then we find out on the news that Pizza the Hut is dead. Mm-hmm. This is after Vespa's already been returned. It's just Barf and Lone Star at this point. And he was locked in a car and ate himself to death. Prince Valium is waiting for Vespa.
They just resume the wedding.
Yep. And as we get the wedding started, we cut to a space diner, and Spaceballs, the placemat, is at the diner. And then Barf and Lone Star stop. Lone Star orders the space soup, and Barf orders a space special. Mm-hmm. And I remember liking the waitress dress there too. I like the good waitress dress.
Barf did too.
Yeah, Barf did too.
Comments on her cleavage.
There's a guy laughing, and the alien explodes from his stomach, just like an alien. I think it is the same guy from Alien.
Yes, yes, it is. It's the actor from Alien. Yeah. So he came and did his scene.
Yeah, again. And they asked what he ate, and he's like, "Oh, he had the special." So Bart changes to the space soup and said, "That's what I got." Good thinking.
The alien does like this whole like musical number.
He does Ragtime Gal and just like walks down the diner bar.
I used to love that scene as a kid, but like looking back, I was like, oh, this is gross. Yeah. I don't know why I like this so much.
And then Barf and Lone Star leave like, check please, and in unison. They go back on the Winnebago. Princess Vespa's marriage. Take 2 is on the sign now. Instead of, I guess they already had bingo, so that was off the sign. Vespa finds out Lone Star did not take the money because she was mad that he didn't stay for the wedding, and she was like, he just wanted his money and ran. And her dad informed her that he didn't take the money. He didn't. No, he just took 248 space bucks for lunch, gas, and tolls. So yeah, because they're all very monetarily oriented. Let's say. So Barf is still hungry because they left without their soup, and so Lone Star gives them the fortune cookie that Yogurt gave them, and Yogurt, pops out of the
he cracks it open. Yogurt appears.
Yeah. And he explains that the medallion is a royal birth certificate, and that Lone Star is a prince. So he uses special fuel to get back to the princess. It was liquid Schwartz.
Yeah, they gives him the fuel. It's in the glove box.
Yeah, in the glove compartment. And and then we cut to the Spaceballs landing, and they're coming out of the nose of the maid.
Yeah, they landed on the beach.
On the beach, yeah. And then you see like these apes from Planet of the Apes
on their horses come up.
Oh, there goes the planet. It's Spaceballs.
Yeah, because the maid's head looks like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, because her hand also came down. Yeah,
so it was a nice little nod to Planet of the Apes.
We get back to the wedding, and as the Winnebago is loudly landing, the priest is saying that they're the bonds of holy moly. I remember that too as a kid. So Lone Star shows up and marries Lone Star.
He's suddenly in a fancy prince's outfit.
Yeah,
where did he get this?
I don't know, especially since they had like seconds to get there. Maybe he stole one from Prince Valium's dressing room.
I don't know, maybe.
And then Barf is standing up with Lone Star, and he's like, "What's your name, son?" "Barf." "Your full name?" "Bartholomew." And then, again, they get married. And then I noticed, though, at the end, Lone Star says, "I love you" first to Princess Vespa. And I thought that might be a nod to Star Wars, too, because of Han and Leia. Like, I love it. I know,
Yeah.
So I think that might have been, a little nod to that. And then Dot just says, "Goodbye, Virgin Alarm." And the Winnebago flies away with "just married" on the back. And "may the Schwartz be with you" gets spelled out in space dust.
Oh, what a cinematic dream this movie was.
It was nice and light.
Yes. It's fun to go back and rewatch it because I did remember a lot of it.
Yeah, me too. We watched it a lot. We had it on tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, any Mel Brooks movie.
Dad loved Mel Brooks.
Dad still loves Mel Brooks. Yeah.
Mel Brooks. So we saw a lot of those from early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a crush on Lone Star when you were a kid?
I did.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Not so much anymore. I was like, not really my type.
I liked him in While You Were Sleeping.
Oh, yes, he is in that one. That's a good one.
But yeah, good movie. Great list of actors. I didn't go through and I didn't have enough time. We were kind of under a time crunch with our filming schedule, and I didn't have enough time to really do a deep dive into what other actors. But there were so many like really famous actors that stuff like I know that they were in. Like Rick Moranis is just fantastic.
Oh, I love him. I wish he was still acting.
I know, me too. But you know his story, right? Like it's so. What a great guy. Like I just I feel for him. He's a great guy. Does the right thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I would give this all the thumbs up. This was a fun one. And especially if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll enjoy it.
You'll like it too, because
you'll see all the references and think, oh yeah, that's clever how they did that.
But beware, if you see this first, it'll ruin Star Wars for you.
Yeah.
You just won't appreciate Star Wars.
There's only one Spaceballs. It's a lot less of a commitment than Star Wars.
That's true. But yeah, I give 2 thumbs up.
Oh yeah, 2
Love
thumbs up.
Love this movie. But do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm so glad that you came back and watched our video, and thanks for joining us.
And again, all of this is our opinions. You feel free to, this isn't the gospel truth. You can feel free to disagree with us in the comments or agree with us in the comments.
If you have a life story from watching Spaceballs too, we'd love to hear.
And we'll see you next time for Sisters and Ebert. Thank you again. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and like our social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. And we'll see you at the movies.